can give you about 2.5 minutes.
Next piece is 4. Next piece after that is 4. So can I start now?
Yeah, if I can find Megan. Go ahead. I'll talk for you.
Irving Berlin. Thank you. Nice job, buddy. That's it until the ceremony. Remember, put stars and stripes back in. Stars and stripes back in the ceremony. Not stars and stripes. Stars on the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated if you're not already. Welcome to Monticello. The program is about to begin. So I ask for a moment of silence to hear, just as Jefferson would have, the gong as it strikes the hour of 9, that gong on the top of the house. Thank you.
When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
Please stand and place your hand over your heart for the presentation of the colors. Welcome to Monticello. Please be seated. I'm Leslie Green Bowman, president of the Thomas Jefferson Foundation, and it is such a thrill and an honor to resume this public ceremony after 3 years. Thank you for being with us. And thank you to the Honorable John, thank you. And thank you to the Honorable John Charles Thomas, honorary trustee of the Thomas Jefferson Foundation, who for decades has opened this ceremony by reciting the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson was only 33 years old when he wrote those immortal words, now among the most famous in the English language. And those were radical words in 1776. They actually were not at all self-evident. To declare a nation's existence and a government's legitimacy on the idea of universal human rights was something new. Never before had a nation been born out of ideas rather than by force or common ethnicity. The fundamental principles embedded in the Declaration, liberty, equality, and self-government, are still the basis of our nation's promise and its aspirations. Throughout our history, they have provided a rallying cry for freedom and freedom movements throughout our country and the world. Lincoln, FDR, Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Reagan, all have cited Jefferson as they led us forward. And since 1776, more than 120 nations have quoted or paraphrased Jefferson's words in their founding documents. But we are reminded that Jefferson's notion of liberty, while visionary for his time, did not extend to all people, not to enslaved African Americans, women, Native peoples, or men without property. So this morning, we honor every individual who has struggled for freedom in this country, and especially the hundreds of enslaved men, women, and children who lived and worked here on this soil and made Monticello and Jefferson's lifestyle possible. The vision Jefferson articulated in the Declaration of Independence has moved beyond his time, inspiring each succeeding generation to protect and challenging each generation to improve upon America's founding promise. Jefferson knew these ideas had the power to change the world. From the very beginning, ours has been a nation that requires the active and ongoing participation of its citizens. And in just a few moments, 47 individuals from 22 countries will take the oath of American citizenship, beginning a new chapter in their journey of participation in our community. To the new citizens, I say, this is your day, the beginning of your American story, and we're privileged to share it with you here at Monticello. Thank you. On behalf of the trustees and staff, and in cooperation with the United States District Court for the Western District of Virginia, I officially welcome everyone to the 60th Annual Monticello Independence Day celebration and naturalization ceremony, and a warm welcome to those watching online around the world. It's now my pleasure to say a few words about our keynote speaker. Dr. Frank Friedman has been teaching and leading community colleges for more than 45 years. He has served in numerous roles: faculty member in psychology and education, administrator, chief academic officer, chief student services officer, and for the last 23 years, president of Piedmont Virginia Community College, affectionately known as PVCC. Frank spearheaded the college's growth and increasing community impact, including the creation and expansion of innovative, high-quality academic and workforce development programs. He has led an institution composed of 5,500 students and 180 full-time faculty and staff. And always he listened, and always he would respond, well, why not? Let's think about it. He's been an incredible partner to Monticello over these many years, tremendous colleague. As you know, he has assisted us with many major events, including this one every year. And it is our great delight to honor him today and thank him for his remarkable career and his dedication to education, which is, after all, the cornerstone of our democracy. When he retired from PVCC only 3 days ago, the State Board for Community Colleges honored him as President Emeritus in recognition of his tremendous accomplishments. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Frank Friedman.
Good morning, everybody. I am fighting a little bit of a throat problem, so bear with me. First of all, I thank Leslie for that very kind introduction. I also want to thank the Thomas Jefferson Foundation Chair, Melody Barnes, and Leslie Green Bowman, and the entire Monticello team for inviting me to speak today. This is probably the greatest honor I've ever received. In fact, when I told my wife, Sue, about this invitation, I asked her, Sue, in your wildest dreams, could you ever imagine me speaking at Monticello? Do you know what she said? She said, Frank, you're not in my wildest dreams. Despite that remark, I'm going to ask Sue to stand along with my son, Alex, and his wife, Stephanie. Go ahead, stand. We're so glad you're here. All kidding aside, I really was quite intimidated when I read the list of past July 4 speakers. That includes 5 United States presidents, several Virginia governors and senators, former secretaries of state Colin Powell and Madeleine Albright, Pulitzer Prize winners, and even our own local music superstar, Dave Matthews. I had to ask myself, why me? I even asked Leslie that question, why me? And thanks to her words of wisdom, I came to realize that in my 45-year career in community college education, I've been fighting for the exact thing that our honorees have been working towards, and that's opportunity. In fact, that's what I want to speak with you about this morning: opportunity and obligation. America is often described as the land of opportunity. Most Americans believe in the American dream, the idea that in this country, our children will lead a better life than their parents, that through effort and hard work, each individual has the opportunity to reach his or her potential, and as the old saying goes, that anyone can grow up to be president of the United States. This belief in the land of opportunity is built on the immortal words of Jefferson that we just heard. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But just as Jefferson the man struggled to implement those ideals, so too America has struggled. Over the years, America has erected barriers for too many people. Some of those barriers have at least been partially dismantled, but too many persist. Most notable, of course, is the original barrier, the color of one's skin, but also gender, religion, sexual orientation, physical disability, and class have all been barriers to opportunity. You might say that America has been on a 246-year journey to make opportunity available to all. And although we've made great strides, the journey continues. I must say that sometimes it appears that on that journey, we take 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. Other times it's even worse. We feel like we took 1 step forward and 2 steps backwards. But we all know we are much closer today to making Jefferson's words a reality, certainly compared to when it was in his day. As Winston Churchill said many years after Jefferson, you can always count on America to do the right thing after it has tried everything else. The great vehicle for opportunity in this country is education. Education is the great equalizer. And for the first 2 centuries after Jefferson, universal, free K-12 public education afforded millions the opportunity to reach their potential and create a better life for themselves and their families. For many, it was the pathway to the middle class. Jefferson believed an educated citizenry was necessary to make the American experiment in democracies succeed. Jefferson said in a quote, "Talent and virtue needed in a free society should be educated regardless of wealth, birth, or other accidental condition. Children of the poor must be educated at common expense." After World War II, and most recently, as our country moved from the industrial age to the information age, a K-12 education would not be enough to assure an individual a place in the middle class. Post-secondary education would be needed in the knowledge economy. In response to that need and those Jeffersonian ideals, the American community college system was born. On a personal note, in 1977, after receiving my PhD, I only had 1 teaching offer, and it was at a community college. I really didn't know what one was at that time, but believe it or not, they offered me $12,000 a year, and Sue and I thought we were rich. It did not take me long in that new job to fall in love. I fell in love with a mission and a philosophy. The community college believes in the power of education to change lives, and it believes that that opportunity should be provided to everyone, young and old, rich and poor, black and white, gay and straight, everyone. In a community college, all students are truly equal, and they are provided the opportunity to overcome all of those barriers. One of my mentors, President George Vaughan, said it this way: the community college is a port of entry. It's the Ellis Island for many of the new immigrants to higher education. So whether a person is an immigrant to this country, or as Dr. Vaughan put it, a new immigrant to higher education, it's all about having an opportunity to reach one's potential. The 10 million students currently enrolled in America's community colleges, which are often called the People's College or Democracy's College, they owe a debt of thanks to Jefferson. You could consider Jefferson the first community college advocate all those years ago. We learned from Jefferson that if we give the people opportunity and freedom to pursue their potential through education, that's the recipe for a thriving citizenry and a thriving country. The inscription on the Statue of Liberty says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free." For hundreds of years, that has been the strength of our nation, offering opportunity to the oppressed, the persecuted, and those seeking a better life. So we gather today to celebrate this land of opportunity, to celebrate the foundation laid by Thomas Jefferson, and to celebrate the entry of our new citizens. I want to pause for a moment. You need to meet our new citizens. Now, we're not going to have the opportunity, I think, for you to meet everyone personally, but I want you to get a sense of who they are. Now, to our new citizens, this is going to be an interactive part of this, so get ready, okay? You're on the stage here. First, will all of our new citizens please stand? All right, I hope everybody can get a look at them. Okay, now if you'll sit, I'm going to ask a series of questions, but you're not done. Be ready. New citizens, would you please stand if you came to the United States to escape religious or ethnic persecution? Please stand. Any? What if you came to the United States seeking a better life for yourself or your children? Please stand. The land of opportunity. Okay, let's learn a little bit more about you. When you came to the United States, did any of you come with little money or little of your own belongings? If so, please stand. What an amazing journey. If you came to this country and you spoke little or no English, would you please stand? Have a seat. Did any of you spend time in a refugee camp on your journey from your homeland to this country? If you did, please stand. Any? Yes. And when you came to the United States, please stand if you attended college anywhere in the United States. And now I've got to ask one just because I'm interested. How many of you went to my college? Piedmont Virginia Community College at the bottom of the hill. All right. I hope you all got a sense. I hope you could see them standing. I hope you got a sense. They came here in search of opportunity, the opportunity for a better life, the opportunity to claim their piece of the American dream. This is the land of opportunity. But now I want to talk directly to our new citizens. With opportunity comes obligation, the obligations of citizenship. As John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th president of the United States, said at his inauguration in 1961, these very famous words: "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." So let's talk about what you as new citizens can do for our country. The single most important thing you can do: vote. America is less than 250 years old. Compared with countries around the globe, America is a mere adolescent. And just as adolescents are in the process of developing into adults, America is still developing. Adolescents have their parents to guide their development, to teach them right from wrong. Well, America has its guides also, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. The problem is that Jefferson and the Founding Fathers are not around to interpret these documents and answer questions about what they meant. It's like an adolescent without parents present to provide guidance. For instance, we must ask, what did Jefferson mean when he wrote, "All men are created equal"? Did he mean men but not women? Did he mean white men but not African Americans? Did he mean only the wealthy or landowners? And what would the Founding Fathers say about freedom of speech in today's internet era? Or the right to bear arms when almost anyone can own an assault rifle? How would they interpret their words in light of today's developments? We'll never know. So who does interpret those two great guiding documents? It is our elected leaders on the local, state, and national level, and the judges that they appoint all the way up to the Supreme Court. And who elects those individuals? We, the people. And in 15 minutes or so, all of you will be we, the people. So the first thing you need to do for your country is vote. As Jefferson said, we in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate. So new citizens participate. But voting is not enough. You need to be an informed voter. Today, we are bombarded with news and opinions from the political right and the political left. You need to listen to both sides of an issue. You then need to think critically and evaluate what you hear to form your own position. You need to separate fact from fiction, fact from opinion, fact from conspiracy theory, and then cast your vote. What can you do for your country? Well, voting is one form of participation, but there are more ways. Participation means communicating your views. Write to your elected officials. Write a letter to the editor of your newspaper. Join your parent-teacher organization. Attend meetings of local boards. You need to participate in this democracy. But when you participate, I want you to keep two things in mind. First, the common good. Have you ever heard the expression a NIMBY? That's spelled N-I-M-B-Y, and that stands for not in my backyard. It's the refrain of those who will not compromise, who will not sacrifice, who will not allow something to affect them negatively, even if it's for the common good. Don't be a NIMBY. Recognize that sometimes an individual must compromise or accept something less than what he or she wants in order to promote the common good. What's in it for me should not be your North Star. What's best for the community, the nation, all citizens, the common good, that should be your North Star. And when participating, please be civil. Civility does not mean being polite and never disagreeing. Civility involves caring deeply for one's beliefs and needs, but doing so without degrading someone else in the process. How do you refute someone who is spouting ideas you hate? Do you deny them the opportunity to speak? Do you shout them down? Do you call them names? No. It's only those who cannot present better ideas who stoop to censorship and name calling. You counter bad speech with better speech, bad ideas with better ideas, words of hate and exclusion with words of tolerance and inclusion. That's civility. What can you do for your country? You can develop tolerance for different ideas and different people. And then you must protect the rights of the minority. These values are fundamental to our Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Perhaps more than any other country on earth, the United States protects the rights of the minority to worship as they please, to speak as they want, to have an accommodation to help overcome a disability, to pursue a better life and opportunity. Providing equal opportunity to those in the minority does not hurt the majority. It makes the United States the land of opportunity. It is what attracted many of you to this country. What can you do for our country? Preserve our democracy. Do not take democracy for granted. History shows us many nations that allowed a strong, charismatic leader to whittle away at liberty and freedom, to subjugate the will of the people, to censor the press, to make voting a sham, to become an autocrat. We think it can't happen here in the United States, but in a recent poll by the Pew Research Center, get this, 1 out of every 4 Americans agreed that a strong leader that does not have to deal with Congress or elections could be a good way to run the country. That scares me. It should scare all of us. Do not let the democracy be thrust aside. Again, as Winston Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the rest. And finally, what can you do for your country? Pay it forward. In your journey to citizenship, there have undoubtedly been many people who have helped you. They've been mentors, advisors, friends, supporters. They don't expect you to pay them back, but I want you to pay it forward. Provide that same helping hand to someone who needs it. Not only someone seeking citizenship, but anyone in need of help as they pursue opportunity and their piece of the American dream. By paying it forward, you make America the best it can be. I close with a short story. Have any of you seen the great World War II movie, Saving Private Ryan? I'm sure many of you have. If you haven't, it's certainly worth seeing. In it, the character played by Tom Hanks leads a platoon on a mission to save Private Ryan. Many are killed during that mission. And with his last breath, Tom Hanks whispers to Private Ryan, "Earn this." That's what I say to you. You're about to become citizens of this great country, a dream you've had probably for many years. You deserve it because of what you've done to reach today, but you earn it by what you do going forward. The price of opportunity are your obligations as a new citizen. Be that informed voter. Participate in our democracy. Promote the common good. Be civil. Be tolerant of differences. Support the rights of the minority. Preserve our democracy. Earn this by meeting these obligations of citizenships and doing what you can for our country, this land of opportunity. So congratulations to our new citizens. Thank you to all of those out there, their friends and their supporters. Thank you to Monticello for hosting this wonderful event. And lastly, happy birthday, America. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, for devoting your career to expanding the opportunities for countless students in your community. You have lived what you have coached today, and we are honored to have hosted you, and I want to thank you for maybe the most succinct manual on new citizenship. We're going to quote from your remarks. And now I extend a warm welcome to the Honorable Michael Urbanski, Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the Western District of Virginia, who will preside over our naturalization ceremony. For 60 years, we've been able to host this ceremony because of the generosity of the Chief Judge of the Western District of Virginia and his associates who travel to be with us on this holiday. Judge Urbanski is joined by the Honorable Christopher Kavanaugh, United States Attorney for the Western District of Virginia, U.S. Marshal Thomas Foster, who will in a moment open the court, and Mr. James Ishida, Circuit Executive, United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit.
Good morning. All rise. The Honorable Chief Justice Michael F. Urbanski, presiding Judge of the United States District Court. Oyez, oyez, oyez. The United States District Court for the Western District of Virginia is now in session and open for the transaction of business. God save these United States and this honorable court. Please be seated and come to order.
Good morning. On behalf of the judges of the United States District Court for the Western District of Virginia, I welcome you to this naturalization court proceeding at Monticello. Let me thank my friend John Charles Thomas for that rousing rendition of the Declaration of Independence, President Bowman for your comments, and Dr. Friedman, thank you so much for yours. Appreciate it. It is fitting that these new citizens will be asked to take the oath of citizenship here at Thomas Jefferson's home. The reason I say this is because during his first term in office, President Thomas Jefferson took up the issue of naturalization in his first annual message to Congress, now referred to as the State of the Union Address. A few months later, on April 14th, 1802, Congress passed the first naturalization law, providing that persons qualified to become new citizens take an oath of citizenship before a federal court. And the oath that these folks assembled here today before me are about to take is the very same oath contained in the Naturalization Act of 1802, which has been sworn to by generations of new citizens since that time. So 220 years ago, Thomas Jefferson, who lived here, signed into law the statute authorizing what we're about to do together. So it's appropriate that we do this here. I'd like to ask the United States Attorney for the Western District of Virginia, my friend and colleague, Chris Kavanaugh, to make an appropriate motion.
Good morning. My name is Chris Kavanaugh. I'm the United States Attorney for the Western District of Virginia. And I would like to invite the petitioners to please stand at their seats to take the oath of citizenship after the motion. Your Honor, may it please the court, on behalf of the United States, including myself, Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, and Urim Jadu, Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, I am pleased to present to the court 47 applicants for naturalization as citizens of these United States. Your Honor, each of these applicants has been found eligible and qualified to become a citizen pursuant to the laws of the United States, and I am therefore pleased and privileged to move this honorable court to administer the oath of allegiance and renunciation and to deliver to them their certificate of naturalization.
I would like two things. First, I'd like all of the folks here who were born in this country and who are United States citizens to pay attention to the words of this oath, first put in the statute books in 1802. Pay attention to it, because this is the oath that these new folks are taking, and it's something we all ought to bear in mind. When I first heard it, and every time I hear it, I'm quite taken by the responsibility that is incumbent with this oath. So I want all of our existing citizens to think about that as I administer the oath to our new citizens. And I ask you all to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, and that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, and that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, and that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations. Let the record reflect that the court grants the motion made by the United States, and the court, having administered the oath of allegiance and will present your certificates of citizenship, I welcome you as new citizens of the United States of America. Now, for the rest of us oldsters, I'd like to ask you to rise. Please place your hand over your heart. And with me, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Mr. Kavanaugh, if you would please introduce our new citizens to their fellow citizens.
As I call your name, please stand at your seat. Farida Ahadi. Shafika Habib. Wahana Upreti Chetri. Nadia Annalisa. Nicole Fierro Komarovsky. Regina Vagara Britton. Sela Doma. Hannah Sula Ku. Marceline Rachel Lexi. Julian Ariella Nkare. Gideon Rodriguez Encare. Elaha Oriakahil Momand. Javid John Razai. Arden Philip Abraham. Linda Rose Aguilar. Andrea Raella Lynch. Ebenezer John Kwaku McCarthy. Nazia Omid. Carla Yesenia Marquez. Abdullah Sadoun Al-Dulami. Elaine Marie Smith. Rafi Mohammed Fakiri. Mursal Fakiri. Li Zhang. Joseph Gunther Kofler. Katerina Mekyanov. Shafula Razuli. Chin Cynthia Dong. Manaka Subhashini Hayes. Omar Ahmadi. Cameron Ahmadi. Zoya Batul. Aisha Dawood Khan. Hasibullah Adari. Ariana de Los Angeles Yaktayo. Probez Leo. Ingrid Cervantes. Michelle Annette Frager Baird. Najia Kayari. Anna Berdul Joe. Joanna Jaffu. Carlos Placerio Flores Garcia. Sama Abdulrahamzai. Farida Mangal Shirzoy. Helen Wadi. Firoza Hamid. Deborah Delilah Gonzalez Wall. And now I'd like to invite all of you to please stand for the singing of our national anthem.
Good job, baby. Way to go. That's why they pay you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh, for he has the hardest job. And thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh, for doing an outstanding job of introducing our new citizens. These new citizens come from a variety of countries, 22 countries from around the world. And I just want to say a special welcome this morning to our new citizen, Katerina, from the Ukraine. And it is, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that your country and your friends and your family are in all of our thoughts today and every day during this difficult time in your country. Of course, a number of folks also came from Afghanistan here, lots of you, and welcome. Many of you helped the United States during your time over there, and I want to thank you for that. And many of you come from countries around the world that struggle with division and strife and violence. And I just want to welcome you personally to the United States and thank you all for being here. My fellow citizens, how does that sound? Pretty good, doesn't it? Well, congratulations. All of us here at the court are very proud of you, and I'd like to thank my friends at the United States Customs and Immigration Service for being here. And it is a real privilege to be doing this in person. Last year we did this with just the citizens because we were still in the pandemic. The year before that we didn't do it at all. And I'm grateful to President Bowman for inviting the United States District Court for the Western District of Virginia to participate in this event. It is truly the highlight of our year. With your permission, I'd like to tell you a very brief story. A little more than 100 years ago, two young men, boys really, saw America for the first time from a ship in New York City Harbor. These two boys, traveling alone on different ships, came to America from Eastern Europe to Ellis Island. I often wonder what they thought as they glimpsed Lady Liberty standing proudly in the harbor with her torch of freedom and opportunity held high. I wonder what they thought as their futures held in this new land, forged on principles of individual rights, equality, and representative government by and for the people. Each of these two boys settled in the coal mining region of eastern Pennsylvania, worked hard as coal miners and farmers, survived World War I and the Great Depression, and raised families. The lives of these two young men intertwined when their oldest children met, fell in love, and got married. I tell you this story because the children of these newcomers to America were my parents. You see, your story and the stories of your children and your grandchildren to come is my story. And as a nation of immigrants, it is indeed the story of all of us. Today, you join a new family, our American family, a family built on principles of hard work, individual freedom, tolerance. Let me say that one again, tolerance and personal responsibility. But I challenge you today, as did Dr. Friedman, to remember that you are not just responsible for yourselves. You now, as new citizens, are responsible to ensure that the ideals set forth in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Pledge of Allegiance, which we just said, which you just said for the first time as new citizens, that we make sure that these principles remain firm and true. So I charge you today with not just taking care of yourselves and your families, but getting involved in your community and helping our other citizens keep America on a course consistent with its foundational principles. Take an active role in your community, schools, and government, and understand that along with the privilege of citizenship comes the responsibility to protect, preserve, and defend the principles upon which our nation is based. That is why each of you have completed an arduous course on American history and government. It is because you are now part of that history, you are now part of that culture, and you are now part of that government. You see, as a citizen, you can no longer look upon our government as some isolated entity. As a citizen, our government is made up of all of us. All of us. And each and every one of us, including you new folks, have a vital role to play to help keep the promise of this great nation. So thank you and welcome. I'm glad to call you fellow citizen. Now, I'm going to call on Chris Kavanaugh, my colleague, to say a few words. And while he's speaking, I would like our new citizens to be thinking about what you are going to say now, what you're feeling, maybe talk about a little bit of your journey to all of us and share some of your experience. I'm going to ask you to do that. And if you don't volunteer, I'll call on you. Mr. Kavanaugh.
And I'm proof that he will call on you. I wanted to also say congratulations and welcome. This ceremony holds a great deal of personal significance to me. I am a first-generation American, and a couple of decades ago, I was in a ceremony, a naturalization ceremony, where my own father was being naturalized as well. It wasn't one as nice as this, but it was a naturalization ceremony nonetheless. But not only that, is my wife, who is the most important person to me on this earth, moved here to the United States at age 14, didn't know any English whatsoever. She studied hard, became a Jefferson Scholar, which is fitting with here today, went to law school, and that's where we met. And now I am the second best lawyer in my house. But the point here is that every story is different, but there is a common thread that runs through them all, and that's people who come here to the United States and become citizens, looking for better opportunities for themselves and for their loved ones. And the diversity, your individual identities, and the richness of experience that you bring here today is precisely what makes America so wonderful. So I want to thank you all and welcome.
Okay, each of us have had our own journeys. Some of us were fortunate enough to be born here. But how about some of you all? Would you like to share any of your comments, any of your feelings that you're feeling right now? I would love to have any volunteers. Don't be bashful. I have the list of names. Okay, I'm going to do it. Oh, we have someone who'd like to speak. Great. Come on up and say a few words. Thank you so much. First, tell us who you are.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph. Alrighty, so bit of a strange accent. You probably can't place it. I've actually lived in 6 countries. Born in the UK, Austrian parents, British mother, and then we moved to South Africa, and then I managed to move to Dubai, where I met my beautiful wife, Adele. If you can just stand, Adele, and the 2 kids, Aspen and Maxie. And that journey took us to Finland, and then Austria, and then here to the United States. And everyone says to me, where's the best place you've ever lived? And I've lived in some beautiful places, and I tell everyone it's right here in Seville. It is absolute paradise. Look around you. In actual fact, the officer, I did the ceremony last year, and they said to me, we're going to put you in a hall next week, and you can do this. And I said, officer, I just have a special request. I want to do 4th of July at Monticello, and here we are. So we all feel like rock stars here today. And I also got a special thank you to say to Colonel Chapman, my favorite Marine. If you can just stand, he's in traditional dress. I don't know where you are, but take a look at what he's wearing today. Look at that. So thank you for the love and the guidance, Larry. Sincerely appreciated. My family's out here from Australia, Mum and Dad, my in-laws. If you can stand, thank you. And my family in Cape Town in Canada who couldn't make it here today. big happy birthday to America. We're really, really grateful. And my wife, she runs volunteer. You spoke about volunteering. So she runs with Albemarle, Charlottesville Albemarle Rescue Squad. I hope you don't end up in an ambulance, but if you do, you're going to get a "G'day, mate. Hope you're okay." And it's truly the land of the free and home of the brave. And thank you, everyone, for making us citizens. We sincerely appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. That's tough to beat. But I know Katerina has a few words she'd like to say.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for giving me mention. I am quite used to cold calling, even though this time I'm volunteering. I just graduated from UVA Law and very excited to uphold the Constitution, not only as a lawyer, but also as a citizen now. And thinking about all the events that led me to stand here today, one comes to mind. It was 2013 when I met my husband, Ted, and we were in Poland, Krakow, and fell madly in love. Unfortunately for me, he was living in the US and just visiting Poland where I was studying. So he had to leave quite soon, and I've never been to US before. So 6 months later, after a long distance relationship, I applied for US visa and got rejected within 2 minutes. My world turned upside down and I wasn't sure where to proceed from there. Long story short, I am so blessed to finally be here today with my husband by my side and our beautiful daughter, and receiving amazing education, and just so privileged to stand here alongside with all of you and being able to call myself a US citizen. Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Katerina. Good morning.
Hi.
It's okay. You're just among friends.
Oh, this is very tall. All right, I'm just gonna do it like this. Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm a bit nervous. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody to be here, all of you, proud of everyone. Big thanks to my husband, Will. Yeah, if you can stand up. And to my parents, because they support me during college. I am from Peru. I don't know how to speak very well, but they support me to school, and that's why I came here. I did a work and travel program, and that's how I met my husband. I don't know, I didn't plan to talk, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. That's it.
Thank you, Nicole. Anyone else want to come forward and share what you're thinking right now? Excellent.
Wow, this is a crowd. I also did not plan on getting up and speaking, but I just, again, wanted to, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for being here today and celebrating with us and welcoming us with open arms. My name is Michelle. I'm from Australia. So we got a lot of Aussies around today, actually, which is very cool. But, you know, like a lot of our stories, I fell in love too, not just with my husband, and now I have an American daughter, but also just with the American people. And I did not plan to ever leave Australia. I loved where I lived, come from a beautiful country. But I came over because my mom was sick. My mom lived here and she was sick. And the doctors and the nurses and the people that I met took such great care of her. And then I met more people in the community, and just so many beautiful American people. And I fell in love. And so here I am 13 years later, and it's a very humbling experience today. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for welcoming us. Thank you for today. And we do plan on participating and voting and all these things. We're excited for that. And so anyway, just want to say thank you.
We have time for a couple more. Anybody else? Ebenezer, come on up. Come on up, Ebenezer. I'm calling on you. Oh, what? You lucked out. We have a volunteer. I just picked you out of the hat, Ebenezer.
Wow, it's a lot of people. All right. First of all, thanks, everyone. My name is Hasib Haidari, and I was born in Afghanistan, came through a special immigrant visa, SIV, from Afghanistan, and I work with US government back there. I came to this country, thank you. Thank you. I came to this country back in 2015. I went to school there. First started with PVCC and graduated from there. And right now I'm working as a software engineer in one of the IT companies. So super excited. And this is a very special day. And I'm super excited on becoming a US citizen on this historical day. So this is one of the moments in my life that you cannot capture the words. So thanks everyone for participating. Thanks everyone for welcoming us as a new citizen. Thank you.
Come on up, Ebenezer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend from Ghana, Ebenezer McCarthy. That's okay. Hey, wait.
He really put me on the spot. I have to think of what to say now. Like you said, my name is Ebenezer McCarthy, Senior, and I have my kids over there, Kevin McCarthy, Melvin McCarthy, and Ebenezer McCarthy Jr. Junior, stand up. Unfortunately, he's in crutches, and he just started Virginia Military Institute at Lexington. Thank you so much. I've been here for about 20 years. I remember when I first came here in 2001, before I finally came in 2002. I was in New York, and my brother was over there, and a friend of mine came from Connecticut. He said, okay, let's go to Charlottesville. I was like, well, what are we going to do in Charlottesville? So just a friend of mine, we grew up together, lives over there. So yeah, I remember this guy when we were kids. Then we took off from Connecticut to Charlottesville. After driving 2 hours, I was like, are we there yet? He said, no. 3 hours, he said, oh, are we there yet? No. I said, you said that 2 hours ago that we're almost there. We're still traveling. Then I finally arrived in Charlottesville. I said, oh, wow, what a beautiful place. So when I finally decided to move here, 2002, then I said, okay, this is a nice place to move with the kids and the family as well. It's a great day, and it's a great honor to be a U.S. citizen. And now, only thing I have to say is that finally I can vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make any comments? I didn't want to just pick on poor Ebenezer. Ebenezer, by the way, you did a great job.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elaine Smith. I'm originally from England. I've been here. It's been a 16-year journey from at the time that I met my wonderful husband. And my 3 beautiful children, Ethan and Jake and Amelia, my precious people in the world. Thank you to the people who spoke already. I also hadn't planned to speak, but you really touched my heart and inspired me to lean into the joy of this moment. And thank you everyone for being here to lean into the joy and the celebration of such a moment. And gosh, America, you're so good at putting on a do. I so appreciate it. I mean, just, you're really excellent at that. So excellent skills. Congratulations on that. I'm just waiting for an American Eagle to fly over, and I feel like the day is perfect, but we'll see. But thank you. We moved to Charlottesville only 6 months ago, and having lived in all kinds of other places in America, this really feels like home. And we've got roots here. I have a business here. We have family here. We're building a life here, and it's precious and important. And we're building a life we'd only be able to do living here. So just wanted to say thank you. Congratulations to all my new fellow citizens. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm glad for some cloud cover so we can enjoy it as well. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Elaine. Anyone else want to share how you're feeling today? Anybody else? I like those socks. Those are really American flag socks he's got on.
Might take this off. Sorry, it's a little short for me. Well, first, I don't have much to say. I'll try to be succinct. I don't have anything profound or grandiose to say, but I think two things that come to mind right now are gratitude. Just appreciate being here. Also love Charlottesville. Just like Katerina, we actually were in class at University of Virginia Law School. It's just an amazing place. And another thing that America means to me is opportunity. I know there's every now and then you hear people say, well, there's some problems there, and there's problems everywhere. But I would say there's so many things and so many opportunities that this country has afforded me. One of the greatest things is my wife, Hillary, and she's holding our baby, Amelia, who just turned 1. She's amazing, but she's a bit of a terror, so I'm dealing with that. But I just want to say thank you also for my family for coming out, and for everyone coming to support everyone here. I think we all can attest that this has been a arduous journey, some more arduous than others, and we're glad that this is over. I have an apology to say to Judge Urbanski. I always kept looking at the standing order on the Western Virginia website, and it says, it's extended for 3 more months. I was just waiting to get that thing. So I may or may not have thought some bad things, but you're a stand-up guy. So
a lot of people think bad things when I sign orders.
So no, but that was just a joke. I always had a running joke with my wife. So really appreciate being here. This is an awesome day. It really hits you more than you think it would. So again, just thank you, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you. And what he was referring to is that we do this naturalization. The statute requires that new citizens be sworn in by a federal judge. And we do it periodically throughout the year, many times. And it is always the best day of our job. It is without question the best day of our job. And since COVID hit in the spring of 2020, this is only the second time we've done this in person. Once was last year at Monticello, where we had no members of the public attending, just the new citizens, and then now today. And I miss it too. I miss it too. I miss this opportunity to think and reflect upon what it means to be an American and the freedoms we enjoy. So thank you for reminding me of that. Anyone else want to comment before we close? Anybody else? Last chance. Ebenezer, go buy a lottery ticket today, okay? Because you won the lottery. All right. Thank you. What I'd like to do is to ask the United States Marshal, my friend and colleague Thomas Foster, to adjourn court.
Once again, I would like to ask that all rise. By the direction of His Honor, the United States District Court stands adjourned for the day. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Thank you to the court. And thank you especially to our nation's newest, proudest citizens who remind us of the real meaning of the 4th of July. On behalf of the foundation, I want to congratulate you and your families on this monumental accomplishment. And I hope you always look upon this day with special affection for this place, Monticello. And I also want to recognize a citizen now of 60 years. She was naturalized here at our first ceremony in 1963. I hope she will stand. It is a thrill and an honor to invite you to applaud Kay Nemax here today with her son, Gary. Kay. Where is she? Okay. Which means we want all of you to come back every year and help us bring in our next class of citizens. But seriously, in 2026, just 4 years from today, our nation will celebrate its 250th anniversary. Many tensions that shaped the American origin story, patriotism, partisanship, tradition, and progress, freedom, and equality persist to this day. They didn't all agree at the founding. We don't all agree today. It's why you need to participate and join the conversation. So as we approach that anniversary of American independence, we must ask ourselves, what kind of country do we want to celebrate in 2026? What lessons have we learned in those 250 years? How do we bridge political divides to talk about the values that unite us? As a touchstone for the American experience and a site committed to sharing history that is honest, complex, and inclusive, Monticello is an ideal place to explore these questions. We invite you to join us as we focus on advancing Jefferson's ideals of progress, civic discourse, and education. We are engaged with partners in the community who share these commitments. You can learn about them in the tent located behind you on the West Lawn. Support from the Bloomberg Philanthropies and the New York Charitable Trust, the Peter G. Peterson Fund make this work possible. On this holiday, we recognize that as residents, supporters, visitors, and volunteers, you share our sense of ownership and pride of Monticello. You've helped us bring forgotten stories and structures back to the mountaintop. Monticello today is the work of many hands, and we look forward to our continued work together to deliver on the promise of the Declaration of Independence. As we close, I want to thank a few people and organizations for adding immeasurably to this ceremony. First and foremost, Dr. Frank Friedman. And continue that applause for Judge Urbanski and the court party. How about a shout and a hand for Steve Lehman and the Charlottesville Band? And especially tuba player Ty Bauer. Mr. Bauer has performed with the band at every naturalization ceremony held here at Monticello. Thank you, Mr. Bauer. And how about the Lewis and Clark Fife and Drum Corps? We want to thank our beautiful opera singer, Christina Nicastro, and the Charlottesville Opera. And it wouldn't be our public ceremony without our dear Diana Case Foster, our American Sign Language interpreter. We thank the Daughters of the American Revolution for being with us. Thank you. We thank Piedmont Virginia Community College for their support and partnership. We thank the Charlottesville-Albemarle Convention and Visitors Bureau. And of course, our sponsors who make this day possible as well. The Scripps Independence Day Endowment, Sally and Joe Gladden, Brent and Lindsay Halsey and family, Mickey Tavern, and the Richard D. and Carolyn W. Jakes Foundation. In the spirit of independence, we encourage all citizens, new and old, to exercise their right to vote. The Albemarle County Registrars and the League of Women Voters can help you take the first step at the registration table located in the partner tent. Today's ceremony will conclude with performances by the Charlottesville Band under the leadership of Steve Lehman. We hope you will stay and enjoy complimentary Monticello root beer floats provided by the Scoop ice cream truck and featuring Monticello root beer to your left and to my right, just to the side of the West Lawn. There are also children's activities on the West Lawn behind you, and I invite you to join us at the rear of the West Lawn for a final performance by the Lewis and Clark Fife and Drum Corps, which begins shortly after the ceremony. Staff are wearing red shirts if you need any assistance. And finally, I really want to acknowledge the 300+ staff and volunteers at Monticello who never have a holiday on July 4th so that we can celebrate with you the great birthday of our Republic. And now, please join in singing America the Beautiful, led by Christina Nicastro, talented artist with Charlottesville Opera. The words are in your program.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you for coming today and for cheering on our newest citizens. Have a wonderful Independence Day.